third races with random set.
That's...
Looks like we're... Oh, sorry for cutting you off.
I was just going to confirm that seemed about right.
I was just going to say that it looks like we're off here, not too surprising, with Uncle assured that both runners are starting in Link's house.
Yeah, and both people taking the sign and going to check that Tier 1 tree pool. Which is a lucky 8 bomb drop this time.
Oh, that makes things very nice for our runners. If they can get to the back of Escape, they can bomb it. They get to Kakariko, they don't have to worry about buying bombs there.
And there's that Uncle Assured sword, so no surprise that both of our runners are going to go visit our uncle.
And so far, only a little bit of cash found in the other chests they've checked to this point.
No save and quit, so it seems like both of the runners are going to go and check the first few chests in the front of Escape.
Makes sense. It's just interesting having open Uncle Assured because it starts out nearly like standard mode, except you don't get a light cone if you go to the back, and you're not guaranteed to be able to find the key in the front. The key might be in the back, in which case you would have to enter from the back of Escape to get the Dark Moon.
And Vivi did take a save and quit to Sanctuary, but only 20 bucks in there, and another big 20 in the front of Escape.
Is Vivi a black mage from Final Fantasy? I'm looking at it and it kind of looks like that.
It would be his namesake Vivi from Final Fantasy IX.
Ah, that would do it.
Heart piece in the mushroom spot in the Lost Woods. Sorry, heart container.
Which is a very nice find in hard mode because there are only 6 full heart containers scattered around the world instead of the 11 you would have in normal mode.
That's right. These runners will have a maximum 14 full hearts if they manage to 100% the seed. Rywek going for pot strats and sword strats on the ball and chain card. And a lucky mirror right at the back in Zelda's chest. Looks like Rywek was considering mirroring out to do the dark rooms, but is going to do a save and quit as well.
And Vivi's now going to show us the Kakariko checks.
Piece of heart, some bombs, a heart container, and another 20 rupees. And in the back of Blind's hut is blue mail, which will be the maximum mail upgrade for these runners.
But this is really nice for a hard mode that... I mean, I've seen plenty of hard mode seeds where the runners are 3 hearts and green mail for forever, and to be able to be at 5 hearts and blue mail this early is really nice.
Rywek using the mirror glitch to check the dam chests. The first one is just a piece of heart, while Vivi is checking the well. And the Master Sword.
Another really good find, and again, that's another power-up that's been slightly nerfed. Ooh, first map check. I think I saw 3 regular crystals, but that was really fast. The only one I can be sure of is Desert Palace. And
that looked like
silver arrows on the Bottle Merchant.
This is a very generous seed so far. And yes, it did look like 3 regular crystals in the late world, as Rywek is going to check Mini Moldorn Cave. Which gives us a bottle, 5 rupees, the Book of Medora, 20 rupees, 300 rupees, and Vivi finds the Pegasus boots in the back of the tavern.
This is a seriously stacked seed. They're gonna have the whole world open to them before you know it.
Which is really exciting, and it's going to be fascinating to see where these runners go. Nothing interesting on the library. With Rywek finding 2 of the 300 drops, I could imagine that he's likely going to do a fake flipper after checking Ice Rod Cave to go and check Zora.
Possibly, though it's a bit less useful when you have neither the flippers nor the moon pearl, because he won't be able to check Waterfall Cave along the way.
And only 5 rupees from the race cave. With 20 rupees in Ice Rod Cave.
So now Vivi's probably going to take us through those south side checks while Rywek goes back through what Vivi just did in Kakariko. Only Rywek also has a bottle, so that's 1 additional check.
That's true, and Rywek will be able to get his Master Sword and his Pegasus boots and Silver Arrow.
And while we have a bit of a break here, I was going to conclude the thought from earlier that you can only get up to Tempered Sword here, so getting Master Sword this early is really nice. And additionally, while Silver Arrows will certainly make fighting Ganon a lot easier, they actually can't be used until you're in Ganon's room in hard mode.
That's right, and even though hard mode only allows you to get up to Blue Mail, both mail upgrades are in the pool, but once you get Blue Mail, the second one turns into rupees. Similar to that there are 4 sword upgrades in the pool, but once the runners get Tempered Sword, that 4th upgrade will turn into 20 rupees.
Other nerfings in hard mode include the fact that the boomerangs no longer stun enemies. They can still be used to retrieve items on the other side of the room, but that's all they're good for.
That's right. Hookshot still stuns, and if either of these runners gets to bracket and it goes to an expert mode seed, that hookshot stun will no longer be applicable.
Okay, now we have absolute confirmation that it is 3 crystals, 3 regular crystals in the overworld.
Which again is very nice for hard mode. If you can avoid one of Ice Palace or Turtle Rock in hard mode, or Thieves, Low Heart Thieves Town, that's a relatively easier. Vivi with his Pegasus boots looks like he's going to set up a water walk to go and check Waterfall Cave and the Zora area. That glitch is set up by dashing along the edge of the cliff and then jumping into the water.
While facing south.
That's correct. Ooh, Cane of Samaria on the island.
Good thing we got that early mirror.
Yes, I imagine as soon as our runners get Dark World access, they will be going right to get that, assuming they also find the flip.
And assuming Vivi remembers to go back and check escape.
That's right.
So we just saw Bottle and the entirely, well, not entirely, but 90% useless red boomerang in Waterfall Cave.
Rywek checking Sick Kid, and today Sick Kid gives us a piece of heart. Oh, and the hammer from King Zora. No scam today.
Yeah, I'd say that's worth 500 rupees.
Absolutely. Vivi going up to check bonk rocks.
For all the amazing stuff this seed has given us, though, we're still a ways from Dark World access.
Quite a ways from Dark World access, and no dungeons can be completable yet with the items that we have. We are lacking a glove and a fire source for desert. Logically, the lamp and a bow for Eastern, and we would need Death Mountain access for Hera.
Which is funny, because if we had Death Mountain access, we would have access... Oh, boy!
Well, guess what, chat? We are going to have a required AGO 1 for the Moon Pearl.
That would explain the early boots.
Absolutely. And with Master Sword, we are a lamp away from AGO.
It looks like Vivi's about to give us a ped check, too, while he's up this way and thinking about different ways the game can hate us.
Could it be that in a Defeat Ganon Seed, we are actually going to have a ped and AGO 1 requirement?
No.
Nope. Just a little piece of love. So, in logic checks are the front of desert, Sahasrala's hut, Agina's cave, and the front of East. And it looks like Rywek is going to go over to the desert area with that.
Yeah, thanks to the book and the boots, everything except Landmo is fully accessible in Desert Palace.
See what Agina has hidden in his wall today. Just 10 arrows. While Vivi is making the play over to the eastern area to check the other old sage, Sahasrala. Do you see what I see on the desert ledge?
Yeah, that... Now you got a Christmas Carol into my head, but besides that, yes. I guess we don't need to do the water walks.
Which hopefully, once Rywek picks up those flippers, that will encourage him to go over to Zora and get his hammer. Nothing of note in the back of Sahasrala's hut. And we'll see what desert.
And with the flippers, hopefully that means Rywek will also find out about the cane. And potentially also check Hobo, which I don't believe Vivi checked.
No, he went straight for the Zora area. Desert would have been Boots Lock. Luckily, we found those early, and it looks like Pyramid Fairy is not going to be anything useful. And the flute,
Well, there's our Death Mountain access.
And there's the gloves. So all the places for the lamp have really opened up, because between the two runners with Hammer and Mirror, all of Light World Death Mountain is open to them. With the exception of Hera Basement.
And technically, the old man isn't in logic, because that requires the lamp.
That's true.
But these runners are old hat at rescuing the old man in the dark, so I'm sure they'll do that when they go up to Death Mountain.
Unique item in Kakrivo tank. tavern. Oh, thanks, game. I think we'll be dashing on by for that. Rywek picks up his flippers and is heading to Kakariko to activate his flute, while Vivi is going through the Eastern Dark. And with a lovely tune, Rywek has activated his flute. The duck is a buck, and I imagine he is going to go straight to Death Mountain.
Looks like he's actually going to do the flipper checks first. Another totally logical move.
He will find out where King of Samaria is, he'll get his hammer, and we'll be able to see what the hobo under the bridge has. While Vivi is going to use those gloves and check what's in the back of the escape. Find a map and a small key in the back of Escape, which means the Dark Cross chest does have an item in it.
Yeah, the key was a little bit disappointing. At that point, you're hoping that the key is in the dark chest, and then you just don't have to worry about it all game.
Nothing particularly interesting on the hobo. Rywek sees his Cane of Samaria on the island and making a mental note about that for later.
Yeah, and especially since we know this seed is Aga-required, that'll give them a link to Pyramid, and so I think once they get the Moon Pearl, they'll probably make a beeline for that cane to get it out of the way.
Speaking of bee, Rywek releases his and sees what the fairy will give him in return. Another bee.
That's another thing about hard mode. You can't get fairies in bottles, and the result is you see more bees in bottles.
Vivi found the bug net in the Dark Cross room, and looks like he's going to do the front of Escape to get his mirror. And Rywek will be very happy to spend his 500 rupees to get the hammer from King Zora.
The runners are doing things in such different orders here. I honestly have no clue who's ahead.
I think until some dungeons have started clearing, we probably won't have a good grasp of who might be ahead or behind. The flute is definitely a good advantage for Rywek, but having both glove and hammer is nice for Vivi, especially since he knows exactly where to go for that Moon Pearl. Just a piece of heart from the old man. Vivi gets his mirror.
I'm thinking the lamp has to be on Death Mountain because we're running out of light world checks. Or technically in Tower of Hera.
See if the spectacle rock hint gives us any illumination. Not this seed.
Thanks, game.
And the other boomerang on top of spectacle rock. Even without a fire source, I imagine Rywek goes into Tower of Hera and sees what's available.
Interesting that Rywek collected that boomerang. I wonder if it's just for the swag.
Might have been accidental just with his mirror portal location.
I know I've said this already, but I still can't believe how healthy of a hard seed this is. We have 8 hearts, 21 minutes in.
Small key in the first chest of Hera. And the powder. So Hera is fire-locked, but that is one more fetch quest to check.
Right, since we have the hammer, Magic Bat is fully in logic.
Vivi getting his information that Pyramid Fairy is likely not required. Is absolutely not required.
And just a blue rupee on the floating island, so that's out.
Rywek very happy to have his boots to go through the long and winding path of Spiral. And just in case you need another hint to maybe go do Aga, there is the magic cape.
Which brings up yet another thing about hard mode. The cape drains magic at twice normal speed in hard mode. This came up in a game last night where one of the runners was just a little bit too low on magic to use the cape to get through the barrier to get to Aga 1.
Oh, and there's our other pair of gloves. And I believe the lamp has to be in one of these chests for Paradox Cave. And there it is. Aga 1 is now fully in logic.
Technically, it could have been on Magic Bat, since we got both the powder and the hammer in logic, but yeah, we were running out of places.
That's true.
I wonder, since Vivi will be picking up the Titan's Myths when he goes up Death Mountain, if he will in fact show us Super Bunny Cave as a Super Bunny.
Absolutely possible. Would be out of logic, but it's nice to get it out of the way while you're up there. Although that means that you would be abandoning Hookshot Cave at that point. Rywek, with his fire source, going to go do the coffee break in Hera Basement.
Good call there. Get a crystal out of the way and save yourself a trip up Death Mountain.
I don't imagine that Rywek will go to Eastern before doing Aga 1, which means that when Vivi does his remaining Death Mountain checks and gets his Titan's Mitts and completes Aga 1, the Dark World will be wide open for him. And yes, as Chad is pointing out, with the mirror, and once they find the bow, it'll be very easy to combo Pod and Eastern.
That is assuming the bow is not mitts-locked.
That is very true.
I mean, Vivi will be able to do that, but in that case it would mean a required double dip on Eastern.
And it looks like left side swamp has the compass and the big key, so possibly need, depending if there is going to be anything of worth in the big chest.
And Rywek's giving us our first boss fight of the game. Three spin attacks with the Master Sword is all it'll take. And there it is.
Rywek gets his first crystal at 27 minutes. And I imagine he will go straight for Aga 1. But he could always surprise us and decide to do Eastern first.
Looks like he's going to Castle Tower.
Climbing the tower with Blue Mail and Master Sword should not be an issue. Even has more hearts than they would have in vanilla. Vivi picking up his cape. Question from chat, Lumberjack Ledge has the Moon Pearl. Unfortunate dead rock placement for Vivi, but manages to get by it.
So what do you think? Will we have a nice Aga today or a cruel Aga?
I imagine with all the nice items that they have gotten so far this seed that it's going to be a good 6+ blue ball Aga.
You're really giving them commentator's curse, aren't you?
You know what? Gotta see it. And Vivi gets his lamp. And the rest of nothing that's in the top of Paradox. And one of those lovely troll green hints in Aga Tower.
So that's like the one place the boomerang is useful in hard mode.
And it does look like that Vivi is going to do the Super Bunny check as a Super Bunny.
Wow, the cat. That's an awesome bunny form.
That is very adorable. Rywek about to enter his Aga fight, while Vivi is checking the 2 chests in Super Bunny Cave.
And
Or
I'm
10
gonna...
arrows.
I'm gonna
And the
hope for...
fire rod.
Whoa, that was a nice Super Bunny check. I was just gonna say I'm gonna hope for a nice Aga today and say 2, but Aga probably won't be that night.
Aga always follows the same pattern of a guaranteed reflectable shot, 3 attacks that could have a 50-50 chance of a reflected shot or a blue ball, and then the lightning attack. And we are 3 for 3 for blue balls on that first phase.
And we have a map check, meanwhile, with pendants in Ice and Skull Woods, and a green pendant in Mire, and the 5-6 crystals were Thievestown and Pod.
So that Cane of Samaria will be required for Turtle Rock, or if there is any required item in.
But since we know where the Moon Pearl and the Cane of Samaria are, I think we're only 4 items away from Go Mode on Vivi's side. The bow, the Ice Rod, the T-Rock Medallion, and the Hook Shot.
That seems about right. Rywek completes his Aga 1 fight.
So what was that, 5? You were awfully close.
I think so. It's a heart, but Rywek is going to pick that up anyway. And since he has the mirror after completing Aga 1, he does need to mirror to save and quit in order to start in the light world. Oh, and chat is correcting me that it was in fact 7, so burn the witch indeed. Vivi getting his information about Swamp, while Rywek is checking the back of Escape. And with the lamp, he is obviously going to go straight for that Dark Cross, knowing that it's an item. And we'll get his bug. Vivi going for hammer strats on Moldworm.
Which is interesting because the hammer and the Master Sword spin do exactly the same damage.
Yes, and if I had the choice, I would much rather do the Master Sword spin, just so you have the larger hitbox. And Vivi gets his first crystal at 34 minutes and 40 seconds. And Rywek is going right to that lumberjack ledge and getting his moon pearl.
So what's Vivi doing now? Turtle Rock Medallion check?
That's what it looks like. And it is Quake today. Having sequence broke that fire rod, once Vivi completes Aga 1 and grabs his moon pearl, he will be in great position to go and finish Skullwoods as he wants. Although being a dependent is slightly disincentivized.
And only having 2 items, though. It's said that Pendant Skull Woods always has a useful item.
Rywek making his way to the Dark World, gonna get our hype check. Do you have any predictions on how hype this hype cave might be?
I'm guessing one useful item if we're lucky, just because there are so few useful items remaining.
So maybe a 2 or 3 out of 10 at most.
If we're lucky, and probably a 0 or 1.
There's a 5 rupee drop. Piece of heart. Another piece of heart. 20 bucks and 5 bucks. So yeah, about a 1. The health refill was nice.
The 2 pieces of heart together make it a 1.
And just think, if Rywek hadn't picked that piece of heart up off the pyramid ledge, he would not have gotten that refill. And it looks like he's going straight for Swamp. Or just to check the hint.
I love that numpty hint.
The game is done playing nice. They've gotten their useful hints, they've gotten their useful items.
That's like how in all dungeons mode, if you go to Ganon before you've beaten all the pendant dungeons, Ganon will call you a dingus.
Rywek giving us a Bombos tablet check. Just for some bombs.
They don't call it Bombos for nothing.
Oh, slippery narrow ledge in Ega Tower. And that blue guard can be a bit of a bully pushing you off. Rywek going to make his pedestal check. Going to learn, unfortunately, that it's not anything significant. While Vivi makes his way to Ega and will have his 7 blue ball fight. The seeds are generated such that any bosses that have patterns will have the same patterns for both runners.
However, if you die to a boss, there's no guarantee that the boss will have the second pattern, the same pattern the second time through, and in fact it probably won't.
And Rywek is going for Skull Woods, and he's hoping to find the 2 items close in the front. And not fire-locked in the...
Little does he know the fire rod is in logic at this point.
I'm a bit surprised when he went to go and check Bombo's tablet and the hint in Swamp that he didn't just flip her over and get his Cane of Samaria.
Especially given that it means that he's doing this the hard way.
Oh, and gets wall mastered.
This is an interesting glitch. Somehow the wall mastering killed the music.
I don't think I've ever encountered that before.
Me neither. Didn't kill the sound because we can hear all the other sound effects.
Vivi has completed his Ega, and sound is back now that Rywek is back in the overworld. And a very lucky fairy drop from that bush.
Looks like Vivi also wants that piece of heart.
And there's our third bottle with a bee in it. And yes, Moon Pearl is on Lumberjack Ledge. Looks like Vivi is going to go and check King's Tomb. And we have Bombos as the second item in Skull Woods. So nothing is fire-locked in the back. Rywek going to go make a trip over to Bumper Cave. Just 20 rupees. While Vivi makes his way up to Lumberjack Ledge to get his Moon Pearl.
This is unfortunate that Rywek's doing all these checks without the Titan's mitts because...
Well, he has the mirror,
Yeah.
so he'll still be able to check King's Tomb at this point.
Oh, right. I'm not used to having the gloves here. Sorry, not the gloves. The boots here, so usually they have to take the long route through the cemetery, but he was able to just bonk his way in.
And nothing in Graveyard Ledge. And Vivi able to take the Titan Mitt shortcut to the portal. And he's going down to Village of Outcasts.
I'm curious what Rywek's going to do from here. Is he going to go east, or is he going to go back to Village of Outcasts?
It looks like Village of Outcasts. Or not. I suppose he had to go that same way regardless, and he's going to go up and check Catfish.
Well, he could have swiped his way through the bushes to get out, but I guess he decided bonking out was easier.
Vivi has made his way into Thieves' Town. With the hammer, this will be full clearable even if there is an item in the big chest. Catfish today with 5 rupees. And nothing of note in the front of Thieves' Town.
So it looks like Rywek is going to do the Village of Outcasts now, which is unfortunate because if there's anything in the Blacksmith Purple Chest quest, including hammer pegs, he's going to have to come back for it.
Yeah, and with the mirror and flute, I don't see Vivi skipping those at this time. They're really easy to route.
In fact, I'm thinking in general that if Rywek doesn't go to Eastern soon, like after Village of Outcasts or so, Vivi's probably going to start opening up a lead just because there's so many things you can do when you have the mitts.
Agreed.
But for the first time, we actually have both runners in the same dungeon.
Other than when they picked up the sword from Uncle, I think that this is the first time I'll see that that's happened.
Yeah, they weren't even in escape at the same time.
And the hint at the top of Thieves' Town was another joke green hint.
That's yet another thing about hard mode. There are more green hints in hard than there are in normal.
No small key left in Thieves' Town. If it's not in this maiden's chest, it will have been locked itself in the big chest. But there it is, so Vivi will be going to check the big chest.
Have we seen the compass yet, or is that still out there?
I am not certain.
If we've seen the compass, Blind has an item. If not, Blind has the compass.
What pun does Blind have for us today? Ah, yes, of course. Meyer requires ether, bombos, or quake. Thanks, Blind.
So not so much a pun as the useless hint department.
Maybe Blind speaks in green text. But that was a nice on-script Blind and gets the hook shot. That's fantabulous. With his second crystal.
That is very nice. So Swamp is now fully in logic.
He'll finish off his Village of Outcast checks, do the dig game, and then I imagine the Smith's Chain will follow right after. And check that powder, which we got up on Death Mountain. You might notice that the 5 rupee drops are fairly numerous. All of the heart pieces and heart containers that are taken out of the pool for hard mode are replaced with the 5 rupee drops. However, Vivi is fluting away, and he might be going straight to Swamp Palace rather than doing the overworld checks. Which can make sense.
I don't think he's done Hype Cave yet, so he'll probably do that first.
Oh, of course. Even though Swamp is a bit tedious, it is always nice to clear crystal dungeons when you can.
And it has 6 items, and the only remaining obtainable crystals for Vivi are Swamp and Desert.
Rywek has another nice on-script blind fight, gets his hook shot, and his second crystal. And we will see if Vivi is going to go to Bombos and just check the swamp pit or do a full dive.
So what do we think Rywek's going to do next? He can't do the Smith quest. Will he do, like, the dig game and Stumpy and K45, maybe?
He may also check powder on his way, since he has the mirror and hammer.
Very true.
And nope, he is going straight for dig game. And with Vivi pulling the mirror out, it looks like he is preparing to clear swamp.
Another big heart.
And that is our 10th heart. There are only 4 hearts left for maximum health in a variety of heart containers and heart pieces. And another nickel in the cave south of Grove. And Stumpy with the ice rod.
So we are getting really close to no mode here. Just the bow and quake. But the runners don't know that.
That's true. And Rywek is also making the play into swamp. Vivi picking up his key. We'll see if he's just going to go straight to the back after checking this compass chest, or if he's going to grab that big key on the left side first. I imagine he will go straight to the back and see if perhaps the big chest is just locking the map.
Yeah, just count your items carefully here.
Vivi checking these 2 chests. And yep, there's the map and 50 rupees, so we do know that there will be an item in the big chest. And Uncle Bomb's in the flooded chest.
Yes, the 10 bomb item that was never present in a chest in the vanilla game, but was added to Randomizer, so that if you're playing standard and it's a bomb opening, Uncle can give it to you.
Vivi heading into his Arcus fight. Slightly slow with only the Master Sword, but silver arrows... Oh, that's right, silver arrows will be disabled for the final part of the Arcus fight. Even though it looks like he does have silver arrows on his HUD and on the tracker. Again, for hard mode, they are only enabled in the Ganon fight. And I suppose he would have needed a bow too to be able to fire them.
But he does at least have the fire rod, and does a very nice job of a really quick Argus kill with it.
And there's our 4th bee in a bottle. And Vivi gets his 3rd crystal. And he is choosing not to dive in and make the left side play for that big key. We'll see if that chest happens to be the bow or Quake. It may bite him back. But he is going to go and grab his Cane of Samaria off of the Lake Hylia Island.
You know, as we're seeing fewer and fewer items left for Go mode, I was thinking, I do have a saying that if the hammer is in Sphere 1, the bow's going to be the troll item and vice versa. And Zora is technically Sphere 1, so I think the bow is going to troll us for a bit longer.
Even though the bow is required for 2 dungeons, it's just one of those ones where it can be literally anywhere else in the overworld or any other dungeon. Without the fire rod, Rywek is using ice rod strats. Slightly slower, but also effective, and he gets his 4th bottle and 3rd crystal. It looks like Vivi is going to dip into Ice Palace. With the glove and fire rod, this will be full clearable, but nobody really likes Pendant Ice Palace.
Yeah, which is why I'm really surprised he's dipping it already.
I personally probably would have gone to the Mire area, since you have 3 items to get there, and you can finish off Desert, and I believe there was an item left on Lanmolas.
I think that's right. So yeah, 4 items in the Mire area without even having to dip Mire, versus just 3 items in Ice.
Rywek going up to Death Mountain. Without the Titan Mitts, the only checkup here will be Spike Cave. Our tracker Nif Boy is confirming that both items were found in Desert, so there would only be the crystal for Lanmolas. Now, you had mentioned earlier that Cape does drain magic at double speed, except for in Spike Cave, on T-Rock Laser Bridge, and in the Spike Chest in Mire. Since those places invincibility items are required, they use their magic and have their regular effect.
And as far as Vivi and Ice, I'm thinking maybe this is just me personally, but I'd sooner dip Pod than go into Pendant Ice.
Yeah, Pod has 5 items, and usually you can get them all without even requiring the bow. Ice only has 3, and it takes a long time to clear. And speaking of the Pod play, that looks like where Rywek is heading.
Which is a good sign, because hopefully while he's up here, he'll dip Eastern and finally get his mitt.
Absolutely. Best case scenario is Rywek finds the Pod early in bow. Or sorry, the bow early in Pod.
That was an interesting one.
I think it might be a little bit tricky to cram an entire dungeon in a single bow.
But if Pod is crammed into the bow, then it becomes Rywek's race to lose.
Max Pi Plus bringing up that... Sorry, Max Plus Pi bringing up in chat that since Vivi did sequence break that fire rod, he may think that it's an advantage that he can pursue. And since he has not found Bombos in Skull Woods, it might be some routing play that he thinks has value, especially with the 3 hints in ice, although there was another green one right there.
Now, Rywek, I don't think has any potions, so he can't actually get to the Bowlock side of Pod.
Nope, all bees. However, Pod was not bow-locked. I keep saying this. Bow was not pod-locked, and Pod was not bow-locked.
But he
So
just bombed the Bowlock side while he was over there, just, I guess, to get it out of the way?
Yeah, and the bombed wall does retain itself even if you leave the dungeon. Arrow of Destiny. That is French vanilla, I do believe.
I thought the vanilla Arrow of Destiny is in GT.
No, I do believe it is in the dark rupee room in the back of Pod.
Ooh, another fetch quest coming out of ice.
And Rywek is going into Eastern. He will get his Titan's Mitts. And then I imagine it will go up to Dark Death Mountain. And we'll be able to check Shock Cave, which Vivi was not able to check as a bunny. Vivi just losing the cold stairs in a corner. And Rywek gets his Titan's Mitts.
So unfortunately, with Vivi spending all this time in ice, unless the mushroom has the bow or quake, I think Rywek's probably pulled ahead at this point.
Absolutely possible. We'll probably get a check on that mushroom soon. It's very quick to check with the flute. And we do know that the pedestal is nothing, so that pendant won't provide any progress.
Sure enough, mushroom check. Always nice when you have the powder, because then you know there's zero risk that you'll miss out on something if you can't fake powder.
Absolutely, and Vivi letting his bees go free, probably to stock up on some potions, maybe to do the potion glitch in Pod. And the mushroom was nothing but bomb, so Ice Palace was worthless.
So Vivi's now going to do that minor check, and we'll get to see what's in there.
And I could not see what the medallion was for Meyer, even though he did a double click. Maybe we will see that on Rywek's screen. And yet another fetch quest, and there is our Quake!
So, we are bow away from no mode.
Are we thinking another bow on Laser Bridge?
That would be quite the troll.
Now the nice thing with Vivi picking up that shovel is he will hopefully route it in with Stumpy and get his ice rod.
Huh, Rywek's not bothering finishing Desert while he's over there.
A bit curious. I suppose the only thing he could be thinking is, since he does have Bombos, he would be able to enter Mire. So check the 6 items up here, see what the Turtle Rock Medallion is. If that's nothing, then maybe do Desert and then follow up with Mire.
Actually, Turtle Rock will be beatable for him, assuming he goes to Super Bunny Cave first.
That's very true. And yes, our Tracker Niff Boy bringing up that Fire Rod would make Lenmo easier. We have not yet gotten a hint for the green pendant.
Oh, that would be nasty if Sahasrara has the bow.
And Vivi completes his Land Molus fight, gets his 4th. Ten arrows in the first shot, chest and hookshot cave. Some bombs. 20 bucks. And another 20.
So it's really just the Fire Rod that he'll be getting before he goes into T-Rock.
Yep, and it looks like Vivi is making the play up to Death Mountain as well.
The difference being that Vivi doesn't have the Ice Rod, so he will not be able to complete Turtle Rock.
Yeah, this could be problematic for Vivi. I mean, it's certainly not uncommon for the Ice Rod to be in Turtle Rock itself, and he might be gambling on that. Or he might just want to be checking Hookshot Cave, and that was a nice hint right there.
But the thing is, Stumpy's usually something that people check pretty quickly when they have Dark World access, and especially since Vivi now got the shovel, and he hasn't done any of the checks in that area.
He really did have quite unusual routing coming out of Village of Outcasts. Just immediately went over, finished Thieves Town, and went and checked Bombos and cleared Swamp, picked up his Cane of Samaria. Big key and a small key in the roller room. And yeah, it looks like Vivi is going into Turtle Rock.
So yeah, the further Vivi dives, the worse, because he's just gonna have to come all the way through here again.
Absolutely. And since they both have the mirror, they can't even be saved by, say, Bo Bean and Mimic Cave. Rywek has to be careful. Those chomps hurt. He's down to half a heart.
And powdering an anti-fairy in hard mode only gives you a single heart, so he could do it, but it wouldn't get him that much.
Well, I think think 4 hearts with the 4 anti-fairies coming up in this next room would give him a little bit of safety room. And he did not have a chance to stop at the witch without the mushroom to stock up on potions. And he does decide to get those 4 hearts. Just a compass in the vanilla big key chest. And Rywek farming those anti-fairies for some more health.
Unfortunately, getting hit by them enough that he only on net gained 1 heart from that.
Oh, and a nice fairy drop from those Hokubokus. Unfortunately, the Medusa is taking quite the toll on him.
I've noticed that people have been more going back to the original name of Hokuboku rather than just calling them Pokies.
I think we have to thank Randomizer for that. People are learning all the wonderful new and original names for it.
If that's the case, though, I want Igor to go back to its original name of Rocklops. I've always liked Rocklops better as a name.
I have to agree with that. Rywek checking Mimic Cave for $50. So if Bo is not in Turtle Rock, where are you thinking? Do you think it's in Mire, on the Green Pendant, or somewhere in the Smith Chain?
Well, statistically speaking, Smith Chain would be the most likely, especially if we include Magic Bat as part of it, since neither runner has checked that yet. Do we really only have 7 checks left after Turtle Rock that neither runner has? Oh, it could be in the back of Pod. We never saw the back of Pod. Or
that's true, but he
Pod key logic preventing.
Key logic. Yeah, Rywek had no keys left by the time he left Pod. So there would be 2 small keys on the Bowlock side.
Okay, so back of Pod is not in logic for having the bow.
There's our first shield.
Lovingly made by Fisher-Price.
And Rywek taking the safety exit, just in case. And there it is, Bow on Laser Bridge.
And at an hour
Vivi,
15, Rywek is in go mode.
Yes, and he'll be able to go straight off, clear Trinex, clear Helmasaur, clear Eastern, clear Lanmo, while Vivi needs to make his way to Stumpy and get his Ice Rod. But it looks like he is going to dive into Pod.
Alas.
And a 1:15 go mode is a pretty good time.
Yeah, only needing Pod, Eastern, and just the boss and Desert. Well, the boss and Eastern and Desert both, and then having to get through Pod. We could be seeing an hour-and-a-half seed here, despite it being hard mode.
I don't think I've ever seen that text from Kiki on Vivi's screen.
Is that what happens when you try to mirror with Kiki?
Apparently.
Why did he mirror with Kiki?
Maybe he hit the mirror button a little quick.
Because now he's gonna have to go back for Kiki when he comes out.
Yep. I mean, it's only another 10 rupees, but it's more of a time loss. And I'm not sure why he's going back into Eastern. I was fairly certain that he cleared out all the chests that he could get. Oh, that's right, he has the bow. But Rywek has a very nice Trinex fight, and gets his 4th crystal.
And don't blink or you'll miss 5, 6, and 7.
Yes, going to do the nice Pod Eastern combo, and then finish off with a very quick Lenmolus fight. Vivi making his way to Armos Knights. Gets his 5 rupees and his 5th crystal. Now, Vivi did not check Catfish.
I mean, the problem for Vivi is that he now has the whole world where Ice Rod could be. Anything he hasn't already checked is equally likely from his perspective to contain Ice Rod, so it's really gonna matter how quickly he can get to Stumpy.
Yeah, I'm just setting up an imaginary route in my head that he's going to go through Pod, find nothing, realize that, oh hey, I've got Catfish.
Oh right, he can't go mode Pod. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he still needs to look for the big key and a potential Ice Rod.
Whereas Rywek has the luxury of completely ignoring the back of Pod and going straight to Helmasaur now. Bombing the bow-locked side was all for naught for all that.
Very sad. What will he ever do without that extra bomb?
Speaking of extra bombs, I haven't seen this actually come up in any match in this tournament, but capacity upgrades cost more in hard mode.
They do. They cost 200 rupees each, and I believe there are less of them total.
Though really, if you're playing at this level, I could see there being situations where maybe you'd buy one capacity upgrade each, but if you need more than one capacity upgrade at this level, how did you get to be at this level?
Yeah, I found that for the most part, people are only buying capacity upgrades just to give themselves a quick refill. And Rywek goes down and finishes Helmasaur, gets his 5th crystal, and will get number 6 shortly. And yes, Vivi getting the hint that Catfish is nothing in pod is hopefully useful for him. Since he knows that Zora did have an item, he's absolutely certain that hint refers to Catfish. So hopefully he's more likely to take the southern route towards Stumpy rather than the northern loop of Catfish, Graveyard Lynch, Upper Cave, and Skullwoods.
Now, this is interesting that Vivi's doing Helmasaur now. I wonder if he's gonna take the risk of not checking the rest of the back of pod, which we know is the correct move, but he doesn't know that's the correct move.
Yeah, I think he's thinking that if Helmasaur has the Ice Rod, then he can just go, and if he doesn't, it takes about the same amount of time to run to the back anyway. While our runners are finishing up some of the dungeons that the others already completed, why don't you give these guys a follow? As Drazi said, these runners are at an extremely good level. One of these two is going to make the brackets. And yeah, they do rando on their channels, and it would really be fantastic if you can give them.
Absolutely. It's always really fun to watch runners at this level. And then you try to do the tricks yourself, and you realize just what it takes to get to this level of play. Very quick Armos kill there on Rywek's side.
And Vivi is going back to the back of pod. And there's really nothing that he could find back here. He could potentially find the Tempered Sword. And maybe the Cane of Burna, which in hard mode is absolutely useless.
Well, it still damages enemies, it just doesn't protect you from them.
Yeah, but with the equipment that they have, is the damage really worth the lag?
I mean, if you have a standard opening with randomized swords, Uncle can still give you the Cane of Burna in hard mode.
Unfortunate mirror bonk from Rywek as he's trying to go into desert. And he will very shortly have his 7th crystal.
Yes, and that means that there's a game we're going to be playing. Would you like to tell our viewers about the game and the fabulous prizes they could win?
Absolutely. There are 22 item locations in Ganon's Tower where the big key can be found. If you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels or have donated 250 bits, you can put your guess in chat and be eligible to enter in our leaderboard. The game has not started yet, so please wait until Rywek actually collects his 7th crystal to put your guesses in chat. If you are not a sub or subscriber, feel free to put your guess in as well. And we will wait with bated breath to see where that big key may be.
And while we were following Rywek, Vivi did get the Tempered Sword in the Dark Room of Pod. So it was not all for naught, but he's still going to need to get that Ice Rod soon.
That is a nice find, but having to double clear Turtle Rock probably will not make up that time. It does look like he is on the right path towards getting that ice. And Rywek gets his 7th crystal. So go ahead and get your guesses in chat.
What's your guess today?
I'm intending to go for 15, just because I think there's something satisfying about having a vanilla big key if you use your standard routing. How about you?
I've noticed a lot of people go that way. I did 10 enough to... Oh, Vivi finally gets his Ice Rod and is in go mode at just shy of an hour 27. But I started guessing 10, and then the one time it was actually in 10, someone managed to get the guess in before me. So I'm just gonna keep doing 10.
One of these days. The one nice thing for Vivi is that his final crystal will be on Death Mountain, so both of them will have had to climb Death Mountain the same number of times, but he still needs to go and walk all the way through Turtle Rock. There was no avoiding it. As Rywek approaches Ganon's tower, you have a few more seconds to get your guesses into chat. As soon as he climbs steps, we will stop the game.
And meanwhile, Vivi does have the Tempered Sword, so he should have a slightly shorter Ganon fight. Anyone know offhand how much time Tempered saves over Master? I'm gonna guess only about 15 seconds, maybe 20, but I don't know for sure.
First chest is a small key, and the second chest is 5 rupees. And finding that small key, Rywek is going to go right. And yeah, I wouldn't imagine that it's going to save that much time. The major difference is being able to do slashes versus spins in the first 3 phases. And really, if you get an excellent setup with Ganon in a corner, you can get double hits with your Master Sword spins in the first 2 phases.
Right, but with that excellent setup, that also means you can one-cycle each of Ganon's first 2 phases with the Tempered Sword.
That is very true. Here we go with chest 6 is 300 rupees, 7 is 10 arrows, 8 is a big 20, 9 is an 8 is another big. I have difficulty counting.
That should have been 3 through 6.
You're right, 3 through 6. Sorry about that. He is now going left side. Number 7 will be the torch. And there is Arcane of Burna.
And Bob lives to fight another day.
Stalfos room, got our fire shield, small key, 9 is a blue rupee, and 10 is another.
That's actually 11 because we count the cane on Bob as number
Of course,
7.
yes. 12 will be the double fire bar room.
So much for 10 today, though.
So much for 10. Vivi on his Trinex fight. Be slightly faster with Temper Sword rather than the menu boss of Hammer.
Now, the thing about Vivi is he must know he's behind or think he's behind, given his double dip of Turtle Rock. So, I wonder if he'll just try doing something like full left to do something different.
Entirely possible. Fire Snake Room is another 5 rupees, and Vivi finishes off Trinex and gets his 7th crystal. Rywek making his way to the Rando Room, which is called so because we only ever see this room in Randomizer.
And it will have chests 14 through 17.
Compass, single rupee, 300 rupees, and another single rupee. There goes 50.
And unless they added single rupees in hard mode, those are the only 2 single rupee chests in the game, and they were in the same room.
What are the odds? Bob's chest up next. Now, if Vivi decides to go full right, and the key is in Bob's chest or behind Ice Armos, he may make up some time. And Bob's chest is the big key. Number 17.
18.
18, yes.
So congratulations, Rocky2418. I believe I've seen you win that guessing game before, too.
Looks like he has 5 wins on the leaderboard, so congratulations. Rywek making his way up the gauntlet. And we'll see if Vivi decides to go full right after checking these 4 checks.
Let's hope so. I mean, if you think you're behind... No!
Oh, sad mirror.
Yeah, usually when runners think they're behind, they'll do some sort of non-standard search for the big key because they figure, well, if it doesn't work out, I was behind anyway, and if it does, that's my only chance to make up ground.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he could think that he's not behind with spending that time doing the Ice Palace play, and even if he thought that the Fire Rod, finding the Fire Rod early really gave him no advantage. And all shades of gray in the chat telling us that finding both single rupees in the same rune is a 0.3% chance. So thank you. Rywek going to his Lanmo 2 fights. Going to have a 3 cycle. On to the first Wizrobe room. Nails the Samaria and picking up that extra heart for good luck. And using the red meringue to pick up that last one.
That's the second use of a boomerang this run that did anything.
Yep, that AGA 1 key and getting that essential extra heart for the climb up Ganon's tower. Suppose knowing that you can't powder those anti-fairies at the top, and Rywek never went to go get potions, so every little bit of health will help.
Fortunately, there are still a few magic refills left. Vivi now collecting his big key, so at least the runners will be going up the tower at the same time.
And Rywek checking those last few chests, hoping to find his tempered sword.
Which could still be here because we don't know where the 4th sword upgrade is.
That's right. As we mentioned before...
And there you go!
In hard mode, even though you have a maximum of tempered sword, there are still 4 swords in the pool. However, if Vivi decides to collect that chest, it will just be 20 rupees for him. And now that Rywek knows that he has his maximum possible sword, going to leave that Moldorm 2 chest alone and head straight to his AGA 2 fight.
And it looks like, barring about 3 Ganon falls, I don't see Vivi coming back here. Especially now that Rywek has the tempered sword, so the Ganon fight will be pretty quick.
Yep, he just needs to avoid getting hugged a couple of times. 11 hearts for runners of these caliber with blue mail should be plenty, but
there goes
things
AGA
can happen.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, there goes AGA 2 on a very nice triple.
Absolutely.
So Vivi emerges from the gauntlet right as Rywek drops in on Ganon.
And our Ganon fact is cheese, which is one of my favorites.
My favorite is still the spicy barbacoa burrito one.
Oh no, and Vivi taking a death in the gauntlet. On Landmo too. And Rywek has been no issues with the first 2 phases of Ganon and is on to gate Phase 3. We did find the silver arrows in Late World Ganon. Have a couple. That's 2. 2 arrows to go.
No torch glitch, but it shouldn't be necessary. Oh, I don't think Rywek was expecting to get that hit on Ganon, but there we go. Get your GGs in chat.
And as Rywek crosses the bridge into the Triforce room, we can tell you that he finished at in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 50 seconds. GG. And with that win, he will indeed advance to the brackets.
With a 10-5 record. And hopefully we can get him in here. The runners are gonna swing by here and then give French interviews on the French channel.
Vivi going to go and take care of Landmo 2. Hopefully that Medusa head doesn't give him any issues.
And we have Rywek in here with us. GG.
Thank you, thank you.
It's GG.
So, I guess, take us through that seed. What were your thoughts?
I felt it was very appropriate that my last race in groups had to be in Agaseed. I mean, we are Group A after all, A for Agaseed.
Indeed. At least you found out early that it was going to be an Agaseed.
Oh, for sure, which was very helpful. I mean, once you get the boost, you have to go check that spot, right? No, it was a pretty straightforward seed. The only one thing that kind of stood at the back of my mind was that Bombo Smith. I mean, it could have meant Mire or Ice Palace. I'm glad I didn't fall for that red hair.
Yeah, that's basically what gave you the game, because Vivi did a clear of Ice Palace, and that cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, that's just really too bad.
Although, funnily enough, he did not have Bombos, but he had gotten the first glove from Eastern, and the second from... oh, it's blanking on me for a second.
Paradox Cave?
Paradox Cave, yes. So he had Titan's Mitts on Death Mountain, and Sequence broke Super Bunny and got that Fire Rod early.
Oh, nice. Oh, that was good on him then.
It was, but then that led him to Ice Palace, which had the Mushroom, which was just bombs, and not a heck of a lot else.
Yeah, it's just really too bad.
Yeah, and then he went into T-Rock without the Ice Rod, so that was kind of what sealed his fate.
I mean, that's a bit surprising. I mean, it was on Stumpy, right?
Right.
It's that's not that far out of the way to go check Stumpy in Cave 45.
Well, I was kind of surprised that neither of you did the Smith Quest or Magic Bat.
Well, that was actually my next place to go. I was going to do, well, once I found the Titan's Mints, I went to the mountain to check those 6 chests. I found the Fire Rod. Oh, yay, I will go do Turtle Rock. And then everything fell into place. But if I hadn't found the Fire Rod, I would have gone to Turtle Rock anyway until I got Fire Locked. And then I would have gone to do the Smith's Quest.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you didn't have the Titan's Mitts when you were doing Village of Outcasts.
Hmm.
A bit
but
more
I'm guessing
surprising.
Vivi did.
Yeah, because as we were saying, he got Titan's Mitts in Paradox Cave because he'd already dipped Eastern. But, yeah, we were still a little bit surprised that you didn't even check Magic Bat when you were going through Village of Outcasts.
I kept forgetting, and as soon as I kept leaving, I thought, oh god, I forgot the Magic Bat. Again!
Well, good thing there wasn't anything on it.
Oh, thank goodness. I would have been very displeased if it was, I don't know, a sword. I'm very lucky I found that last one at the very last possible second.
Yeah, that was crazy because you missed what would normally be the tempered sword upgrade because you were able to go mode pod. It was in the dark room.
Ah, okay, that's where the last one.
Yeah, so Vivi got his tempered sword there because he still hadn't found the ice rod when he went through pod, so he wasn't go moding.
Hmm. Yeah, I still feel this was pretty tight, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Vivi's, I think he's almost about to finish. But,
Yep,
he's on stage 4.
Ah, there we go then. Yeah, Vivi is one of the toughest opponents I've ever had.
And get your GGs in chat for him. He has just slain the pig.
And he just needs to cross that final bridge. And we have an official SRL time of Vivi of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 3 seconds.
So, just a little over 6 minutes difference, which isn't that bad all told.
Oh, no, not at all.
He was doing land mode 2 when you were doing Gannett.
Yeah, that's not very far behind at all. But yeah, Vivi is one of the toughest opponents I've ever had. He went in 3rd in the French Link to the Past randomizer tourney. Honestly, like, just beating him one-on-one is an incredible achievement for me.
Well, we were discussing at the outset of this race that it was kind of impressive that each of you had won the race where the other chose the settings.
Yeah, that was special.
So, I don't know if that means you're both really tough opponents for each other or what.
I think what it really means is, in the end, he is my ultimate rival. And we shall forever be intertwined in battle.
Or at least for this tournament.
That'll have to wait until the next tournament now.
Yep.
So you had vetoed all dungeons for this race. Was there any particular reason for that?
Absolutely. Vivi's execution is twice better than mine. He's just way better, so it was to my advantage for it to be open mode, so that way I could try and read the seed just a bit better than him, and hopefully I could get a bit.
And yeah, as for the open mode, we had a great example of that, where you both went to get that guaranteed Uncle Sword and did not cross paths again until you were both in Swamp Palace, I believe.
Oh, wow. Pretty far off. Yeah. This seed was still filled with, I got 5 B-Torps in this seed. I'm just looking at my menu now, it's like, wow, that was a lot of B-Torps.
Yeah, you threw the bottle into the waterfall pond, and they just gave you another one.
Yeah, it's a B-Torp seed.
At least one of them was the good bee.
So we have Vivi in the waiting room here. I'll try to get him in.
So on your way to brackets, Rywek, do you have any thoughts? Are you excited for expert mode?
Expert mode seems very daunting. The only thing I can hope right now is, I'm not against Kyong.
I think every runner not named Kyong is hoping that.
Maybe not Andy.
Fair enough, but in the first round, given how the seeding's going, I imagine it'll be... I mean, you have 10 wins. There are people with 8 and 9 wins, I imagine. One of them will have to face Kyung in the first round.
True.
And we now have Vivi in here as well. GG.
Hey,
GG.
GG.
GG, Vivi.
Hey, GG, Rywek.
So, Ice Palace. Have to ask, what was your thoughts for going in there?
I thought it was a completable crystal. I was kind of surprised when I saw the pendant drop, but yeah, that sucked.
Mismarked tracker has been the death of many a good runner.
I didn't even mismark my tracker, but I don't usually use a tracker. I just use it for the stream. So on my stream, my tracker was there with pendant Ice Palace marked on it, but in my head, I was sure it was a crystal. So I saw the pendant and said, "Shit, I mismarked." And I look at my tracker and no, it didn't have mismark. Oh wow, why am I here?
Oh no, and then that double feeling when you turn in the mushroom and it's not anything useful.
I'm saying, okay, at least there's maybe the mushroom, but nope, 3 bombs.
Yeah, we were thinking you were just taking a stab in the dark, but that makes more sense if you thought it was a crystal.
Yeah, no, I really thought it was a crystal. So I skipped all the South Shore thinking I have 2 completable crystals. I'm gonna go do them. I'm gonna go do Swamp then Ice, which made me miss the Ice Rods, which made me double dip Turtle Rock. So yeah, it was just a series of bad mistakes, but that happens when you're overly tired for a couple of weeks now. I've been working way too much, so yeah.
And even so, your execution was good enough that you really regained a lot of the ground. I mean, the fact that it was only 6 minutes apart, that you were both climbing up GT at the same time, despite all those extra checks you did, is a pretty impressive testament to your execution.
Yeah, I'd say all in all, tonight, even though as I said, I'm pretty tired and made some stupid mistakes, execution was pretty good, except the one death in the GT climb, which cost me another maybe 2-3 minutes. But besides that, I have no complaints about the rest of my execution tonight.
Do you have any other thoughts on the seed? The early Titans mitts were certainly nice, although I imagine seeing that Moon Pearl on Lumberjack. Did you have any thoughts about that?
It was just kind of funny. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna need to find my lab ASAP, and like for 3 times I said, okay, Lamb's gotta be there. Lamb's gonna be in the escape. Oh, it's not. Okay, Lamb's gonna be in the desert. Oh no, it's not. All right, Lamb's gonna be in the mountain. It was like my last check on the mountain. Well, for a needed Moon Pearl on Lumberjack, you had lots of stuff to do before you got to it.
Yeah, I would say that before that Ice Palace play, you might have had the slight edge since you did have Titan's mitts for quite a bit longer. It took Rywek a little while to go to Eastern to get his second pair of gloves.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think Ice Palace cost me 5 or 6 minutes by itself, and then the death in the climb cost me another 2 or 3. And besides that, I don't think there's much time lost in the rest of what I did. So there's definitely a time loss from double dipping Turtle Rock, but that's kind of the way I decided to route the seed, going in there without the Ice Rod. But the bow was at the exact same place as our last race, I think, me and Rywek. Or the first race. The first of the
It actually was.
race.
Last chest on Laser Bridge?
Yep.
It does have a way of liking to hang out there.
When I found it, I was just thinking about Dr. Bobtastic's song, "Where's the bow? Where's the bow?"
Yeah. I'm not sure why, but it loves the Laser Bridge. And it's always the last chest too. You're like, shit, I came here for nothing. And then you open the last one, you're, oh, yay, good.
Well, when you were on Laser Bridge, were you hoping to see that bow, or were you hoping to see that Ice Rod?
Well, the Ice Rod more than the bow, but I was happy to find anything, because double dipping Ice Palace, not Ice Palace, Turtle Rock for absolutely nothing would have been pretty bad. But I was already feeling bad from doing the whole Ice Palace for nothing. Then in a pretty straightforward linear seed, I knew that it was complete time loss. Rywek was not stepping inside Ice Palace in that seed, even though he loves Ice Palace.
I really do.
Okay, well, as our viewers may have seen in chat, this match was also restreamed on Speed Gaming Francais, so I gather they also want to be able to interview you guys, so we should let you go. Any final thoughts here?
GG, Vivi.
Yeah, GG. Thanks to both of you for doing the commentary. Thanks for the tracking team. Speed Gaming, everyone behind the scene. This is my last race of the tournament, so it was very fun. The first 3 weeks were much more fun when I had time to play. The last 3 weeks I had to cram the races, but I love the tournament, so thanks to everyone.
Well, hopefully you get a bit of time to unwind now.
Yeah, I think I'll have a little bit of time.
And Rywek, good luck with brackets.
Well, thank you. And thanks again.
GG.
So that'll about wrap it for us. The one other race left to determine brackets is actually currently airing on ALTTP Randomizer channel. I haven't poked in there, so I don't know how the runners are doing, but it is certainly still going on if you want to check out there.
And depending on how that race shakes out, there could be a three-way tie in their group.
And either way, we do have one tie between Pretty Wong and I Am the Schwartz that will have to be resolved sometime later that week, so keep your eyes peeled on the schedule at speedgaming.com/ALTTPR, and that'll be posted once they decide when it is. And if Zyrak does beat Bonta, we will also get to find out when the three-way tiebreaker is going to be.
Absolutely. And we just want to remind you to give both Vivi and Rywek a follow. They put on a great race here tonight. And in the future, you'll be able to see Rywek as he practices for brackets. And hopefully Vivi will be practicing for the next tournament whenever that.
And also follow the Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. We have a lot of good stuff going on here, and this tournament is mostly going to be on hiatus for about a week while we finish up a few odds and ends matches for group matches and the one or two tiebreakers that will be necessary, but I believe brackets will be starting a week from today on the 12th.
That's right, but there is lots of other content on the Speed Gaming channels, including the Super Metroid Link to the Past Combo Randomizer Tournament and the Super Mario World Tournament.
And we also have a gigantic marathon going on Speed Gaming 3 for the entire first half of the month.
Yes, I believe it is called the Really, Really Long Marathon.
Yeah, involving a lot of games that take several hours to play through.
The Really, Really Long-a-thon. Thank you, Nifboy.
And that also reminds me, thank you to Nifboy for doing all our tracking tonight. Great job with that. And of course, thank you to Mind of Me. It's been great working with you tonight.
Absolutely, you as well.
And once again, thank you to our runners, and I think that'll do it for us tonight. Feel free to head over to the ALTTP Randomizer channel to see the one remaining race for how brackets are going to shape into place.
And with that, Thank you for watching. Again, make sure to give all of the Speed Gaming channels a follow and follow ALTTPR randomizers 1 through 5, I believe they are.
Oh, do we have a 5 now? I thought there were only 4, but maybe there's a 5.
I believe there is only a 4. There's only the 5 for there's 6 for Speed Gaming.
Anyway, just look them up. If the number doesn't exist, I'm sure Twitch will tell you, and follow the others. And have a good night.
Good night, everyone.